What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture. Hope everyone is having a good weekend. I had a crazy week last week on my channel. A lot of videos. It sparked up a lot of discussion, and we're going to kind of be continuing that discussion today. If you guys aren't subscribed to the channel yet, please take some time to do so. Hit the notification bell. Check out the awesome links below to Custom Journals Comics merch, how you can become a Patreon at just $3.99 a month. To help support the channel and get special perks as well. And of course, friends of the channel and affiliates. Tons of links below. Guys, let's go into this topic today. So I did my video last week discussing, a lot of elements of the negative aspects of collectors within the hobby and how they look at the hobby. The naysayers, the doomsdayers, comic books are disappearing, the hobby's going away, and then ultimately I did a video saying, why do so many collectors seem to hate comics, right? I have a comment that I'm going to read today to you all from a friend of the channel, a really awesome individual that I highly respect, somebody that's been in the industry and in the hobby for a very, very long time, and he shared a bit of a story that basically spans the last 50 years. This was on my video, Why Do Collectors Hate Comics? So guys, without further ado, big shout out to friend of the channel, Collecting Chaos, who actually is a content creator himself. So I will leave his link below for you guys to check out his channel as well. Go give him a sub. But I'm going to read this to you guys because I think it just speaks volumes to, for one, the points that I was trying to make, and for two, to really take this approach of where we've been as hobbyists and within the comic book industry, where we are currently at, and where we're going. So again, without stating anything more, let me dive in to Collecting Chaos's comment here. All right, guys. Quote. I started collecting comics in the late 60s and got really serious about it in the early 70s. X-Men was a reprint book at that time, and the industry was just starting to rebel against the comic code. It spelled doom for the industry, and I know several people that switched from comics to stamps, coins, and sports cards because, well, comics were dead and had maybe a few years left. Look at that. They were saying the same thing back then, right? Continuing on here. We all know what happened in the 70s and then into the 80s. There were so many small press comics that the big two were doomed for sure. Whereas First Comics, Innovation, Pacific Comics, Malibu, and Eclipse Now, where are they now? I had a comic shop in the 90s, and it wasn't because of the comics that I closed the doors. It was because of the landlord's greed. My sales continued to grow at a steady pace, but not fast enough to recover from my rent that was being doubled. I never really saw the crash that everyone talks about, because I carried a large selection of back issues as well as new comics. Sure, the sales dropped on some titles and speculation was running wild, but many of the speculators went to other things like toys and collectibles and card games. So, here we are in 2020, and because giant corporations now own DC as well as Marvel, and are not interested in doing business as usual, but looking to trim some of the books that don't sell as well in favor of those that do, it means the industry is dying, right? I just don't see it. And I purchase a few new titles, but mostly I buy back issues. Several of my favorite titles have been canceled. Hey, it happens. It has been happening to me for over 50 years. I have been asking where the new readers are going to come from for about as long as I've been collecting. And somehow, they always show up. Movies, TV, video games. That is where the new comic readers are getting exposed to the wonders of sequential panel art. I don't believe comics are going anywhere anytime soon. Wow. Man. Collecting Chaos, again, I want to say thank you so much for, you always share such great insight to the hobby on a lot of my videos that I do. You know, you're always in the comments. And I just love reading your wisdom and your stories and all the experience that you bring to the hobby. And I pinned this comment on this video. And again, guys, I think it speaks volume. I mean, he really painted the picture and summed up how, you know, it's really this cyclical cycle of you know, doomsday thinking that has always loomed near within the hobby of comic books. And yet we're still here. We are still here. And, you know, it was funny. I was reading, because I posted a link to this on some Facebook groups, and I was reading even today, people commenting, oh yeah, the industry's dying because speculators and all this stuff. And it's just, I don't know what people will ever understand, you know. And I think, you know, Collecting Chaos here, he spoke so eloquently on specifics. You know, he talked about new readers, getting the younger, just new readers into the hobby, and new collectors into the hobby. And he says, look, we've been wondering that for 50 plus years, and yet they still keep coming, right? He talked about, you know, the issues of DC and Marvel being ran by these corporations that have so much under their umbrellas, right? And it's like, oh, they're cutting back, but it, you know, is this a bad thing? You know, it's just, it's something that's continued to evolve and to grow. And I like how he talked about his experience, you know, being a comic book store owner in the 90s, and how, you know, the reason why he shut down had really nothing to do with comic books at all. And even though, you know, there was the crash of the mass production of comics, the crash within the value of the books, you know, there was still a market there, especially with back issues. And that correlates to what I talk about constantly, about the primary market and the secondary market having to be these two things that coexist, that actually help each other out. It's like the yin and the yang of the industry in totality. You know, when everyone says, oh, the secondary market doesn't mean anything. It does. It does so much. So I had to make a video sharing this with everyone. I wanted everyone that watches my channel, that's watching this video now, to really take this in. Because again, it speaks volumes to somebody that has been in the industry as a collector, and is somebody that has worked within the industry for over 5 decades, guys. You know, it's just points to the fact that, and I've said this so many times over this last week, the industry is not foolproof. All right. The industry isn't without problems. But the biggest issue that's out there is the fact that people cannot adapt to change. It's not the industry, it's the individual. And there's so many individuals in this hobby that'll continue to focus on the negative instead of try to focus on the positive, and just focus on what they love, how they want to collect, and know that that option is still out there, and it's not going away anytime soon. It's not. And in reality, there's more options. The way that collectors collected in the 70s or 80s or even 90s, that way is still there, but there's other ways as well. A lot of people that want to get into collecting the graphic novels or the trades or the digital, or that want to speculate or want to buy variants and all this stuff, that's there too. The industry has actually evolved to open more doors. The comic book hobby is not so one-sided these days. It's multifaceted in so many different ways. And to his point here, and what he was talking about, how we get exposed, you know, video games, TV, movies, you know, multi-billion-dollar box office cinema. These are all things that are, you know, connected with the hobby of comic books. Okay. So again, guys, I had to share that. I am probably going to make a video later this week talking more about I want to talk a little more and focus more on the speculator aspect, which I've talked on before, but I want to focus specifically on that because I think this idea of, it's the idea of the bloated prices, right? The problem with the industry is that it's only speculators that are, making the books have prices that aren't fair market value. So I have so much to say to that, guys. I could start ranting about it right now, but I'm going to leave this video at this where it's at right now. So again, Collecting Chaos, guys. Go check out Collecting Chaos. Link is below. Again, check out all the other awesome links below too. I will be having my patron-only contest in the near future. We're still needed to get some more patrons. We're almost halfway there, and again, it's only $3.99 a month. You help support the channel. You do get perks as well, and you get automatically entered into the patron-only contest. I will be announcing more prizes for that contest soon as well. And I also want to say one more thing before I wrap up. There will be another announcement of that's having to do with my 3K sub contest video, guys. And for everyone that entered that contest, stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss it. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Leave some comments and thoughts below. Be well, and until next time.